you can see it's very simple, but all the targets were really tiny. We also had some trouble when you threw the rings with gravity actually reacting properly, so they bounced around a lot. And so we decided we had to make the targets bigger, and we had to make more of them. So okay, that got a little crazy. So in this one, you didn't know exactly when you run something because the ring would just go around the little alien of the target, and you could actually pile up a ton of rings. You could shoot 8 times a second, so you could really like have a pile of rings on that little deck there, and the computer couldn't generate stuff fast enough, and the little guys didn't go down, and it was really confusing. So the next path we did was a series of like layered flats. So when you rung a character, the ring, if it didn't land on them, would go down through a slot, kind of like some of the other games we were developing. And then also we had, if you got the ring on the alien, you actually would, the alien would pop down. So now you saw that it was successful if it went down and you rung it, and all the extra rings would go away. But this kind of actually became a little bit too easy.
Well, it's also if. For the ring, we had a problem with them stacking up, but we also had the problem of locking it, what we call lock and load, which was if you found a target, you could just keep locking on it and just hitting a million points. So by having those aliens go down, suddenly your target's not there, so you're going to have to move your gun and move somewhere else. So there are a lot of things we learned through the process.
Right, and this one, this became a little bit too easy because there wasn't enough targets. Well, the next version, okay, when people didn't know what they were aiming at, so it got really confusing. And also, those rings were still bouncing around a lot, so the whole thing about gravity and the way that the rings were actually engaging was still a big challenge for us. So finally, this one was getting closer. We discovered that if we put some magnetism in the target itself, when the ring came close to the target actually took over and brought the ring down on it. So it made it much easier for you to be successful and actually have the target accept the ring. And so this would, when we got back home, we really started to see that there was really good hope and that this could be successful. And
yeah, we almost lost this one.
We almost tossed it out, but this conclusion actually showed us that we could really be successful. And this game in playtesting went from the hardest and the least favorite game to the hardest but the most favorite game.
We just have a couple more shots here, quick, inside. But of course, the playtesting never stops. You get the games right, but you go right to the field. You got to make sure they work in the field, to make sure they time out right. Even in the field, you got players to come in early to make sure that the games are still successful, because you can keep tweaking this to make sure it's really fun. And
maybe John likes it.
We set up together. So, when you get thumbs up from John, we're in the right thing. So you can see here, we're going to show you how you take a piece of art like this that was literally generated in one day after we came up with the idea. From that,
Ring to infinity and beyond. Rings around the target. Play the first
I know you guys want to act better.
Rings down, people. Great work, players.
So, we were going to bring all these characters to life to populate this world, and it was, Lori done some fantastic stuff thinking about the environment that the games were set in. Oh, it's Andy's room, so we know what that looks like. When we start talking about, well, what do the games look like? Well, we've never seen those games in the movies, so how do we design them in a way that they feel like they're part of the Toy Story world? And going back again to the movies, that while the film came out in '95, really Andy's bedroom is a reflection of the childhood bedrooms of the filmmakers, of John Lasseter and Joe Ranft and Pete Docter and Ed Stent. It was really a bedroom from the '60s, early '70s. So we said, well, then let's make the game really from that era. And I had a game when I was little, it's 1972. Anyway, so we said this game, thank goodness for eBay, because I don't have any for it. So we bought a fresh one, and we said, okay, that's our model. It's printed cardboard, this nice thick cardboard, and plastic, single-colored molded plastic with some stickers. And we said, all right, let's make everything that. And so we did. So you look at every one of the games, they're printed cardboard flats. You can see the thickness of the cardboard. There are single molded colored plastic things like the trees and the fencing. And you look at the sky, you can even see it's a little bit wrinkly, but Andy really takes good care of his toys. Like John. And so all the games had that same vernacular. The cardboard, you can see again the sky, and the tower there in the front is the single color molded plastic. And in some of the games, like in Bo Peep's Balloon Pop, I don't think it's slide here, you can actually see some little holes from where the darts have punctured it before, which I think must be very upsetting for Andy. You get a hole in it. So we, of course, wanted to have all the toys hosting these different games. And so, we have this great cast of characters. And so, but this is the first time we were seeing them in 3D. And so, it was very exciting actually to be animating the characters in stereo for the first time. But, the characters hadn't really been animated much since the second film came out in '99. And so we had to sort of take them out of the toy bin, the digital toy bin, and dust them off. And we wanted to make sure that our new and improved version of the characters matched the Toy Story 2 version. The Toy Story 3 was just starting up, so we collaborated with them. Building, there's a lot of technology that's evolved at Pixar since that movie came out. So we're making the new and improved versions, but we want to make sure that they felt exactly like the classic toys that we know. So, as these guys had set up from the very beginning, they were going to be hosts. And so Ham and Rex, who we see playing video game and Toy Story 2 together, they love playing together. So great, we're going to have all these hosts. But one of the tools that we use at Imagineering a lot is we build virtual ride-throughs of the attractions. And because it's so late in the process when you can actually physically ride the attraction and see how this works, it's really important for us early on to visualize how well they did it, I don't know. But the street dummy. Anyway. As we were setting up the virtual ride-through, we noticed because of this great spinning turret, which was this fun way of coming into each game booth, it turned out that there would be moments when you'd see both sides of the screen. When you're playing a game, you'll notice that every game booth, of course, is double-sided. Whereas, now you're going to see Ham and Rex on both sides, and there's only one Ham and one Rex. So that's not possible. So we called this like the doppelganger problem, which I think was so fun to say we're doppelganger. So we said, well, instead of that, what if we split up the host? So we put one host on one side and one on the other. And that's what we ended up doing. We ended up having every game booth that you come into, you see one character on one side and one on the other. And as you're exiting, we actually then see them again on those sides. So you get a moment. So if you do see both screens you come in, you get to see the characters. So this is what the entrance to the Ham Next game looks like.
Hey, welcome to here now. You're in.
And in fact, we thought, well, it'd be nice, Ham's actually throwing the egg over to. Ham was actually throwing the egg to Rex. He never seems to get it though. He never gets it. And then the same thing with Buzz, and Buzz is in fact showing you how you should play the game. He tosses rings onto the alien. Luckily, you can have as many aliens as you want, so you can really fill out both sides.
Toss your rings, no infinity and beyond.
That now is a really good thing to Infinity and Beyond. It was very fun to have him there. So then we said, okay, this is great. We have all these happy parents. We've got Ham and Rex. We've got the roundup gang. We're going to have Woody and Jesse are going to be hosts together, and Prospector. Sure, he could be there with Bullseye, and obviously Buzz with all the aliens. Bo Peep with Queasy, that natural combination. She's porcelain, he's rubber. Now, the most complicated thing, actually, for us from an animation point of view, was the practice game. We wanted you to come in and have these 4 characters that you were going to actually shoot against as they held up their targets. So we had Rex and Woody and Buzz and Jesse. And the problem there was we said, okay, that's going to be really fun. But first we've got to teach our characters how to go ahead and basically hold their target in all different places. And as you can see in the middle column, if you have the audacity to shoot at them, they need to be able to protect themselves.
But it'd be also a goo and...
So that was fun. And that was great, so this is going to be terrific, and this is what's going to look like.
Hey, welcome to our practice game.
And we said, the doppelganger problem. And so we didn't really have a choice here because we had these 4 characters we were going to play with. We really didn't have 4 other characters that we could bring in, and of course each of the 4 people on one side need to have 1 character to shoot at. So I said, well, how do we get around this? We said, well, actually, we could, as you're coming in, we only want to see one of each character, but once you've settled in and you're facing your screen, maybe then we could bring in the other characters. So we said, well, let's create a different entrance. So there's some characters that start out on screen, and then there's the link entrance, and that ends up looking like this.
Hey, howdy, hey! Welcome to our practice game.
And then their evil twin comes. Called the evil twin, you know? And then, of course, when you play the practice game, it is a completely unique experience. They actually are reacting to what you're doing. Here's just
Hey, howdy, hey! Welcome to our practice game. White pie! Whoa!
And yes, as you all, like my son, have discovered, hey, let's work together. I'll show you the heads you should believe that can't be the And now, of course, the Green Army men were going to be busy with their plates, and once we switched from the paper targets to plates, they were going to be shattering all those plates. The Green Army men were obviously going to be very busy cleaning up the plate shards, working hard. And I know a lot of people make a mistake when they play this game of looking at the targets they're shooting at. So what you should do is look at the bottom of the screen and see all the little Green Army men are working so hard to keep the game going. So then, of course, you're going to have a carnival game, and when you win, you get a prize. And we go, well, what are those prizes? We two always called our virtual plush. Not very huggable, but pretty cute. And so we said, well, what about in Toy Story 2, we have the round game, and there's really cute critters that were designed by Bud Lucky. We said, let's go ahead and pluck those out and make them our plush toys. So we hyped them up, and there was a lot of competitive debate about what's more valuable, a turtle or a bird?
We want to make sure that some people really want their number. So Sue was really careful to make sure that there was different ways to score this, and that some people wanted to know exactly the number, so when they come back they can score and try to beat that or beat their friends. So we had different levels besides the plush, because we felt like we had to have a warm fuzzy for you to sort of grasp onto, but also the number, and also the accuracy was sort of a late entrance, but it was a really fun thing. So because we found some executives that we were playing with would aim and pull, and then turn and aim and pull, and like they didn't get a whole lot of points, but they had 100% accuracy. One piece of ammunition. That's a great thing, because it's almost when you play, the person who wins the point loses the accuracy almost all the time.
So like the rest of the whole world, this prize booth had to be a game, a toy. And so we talked a lot about what's the mechanism. So at the beginning we had this sort of train track switch, and then we ultimately ended up with this pull string, much like, Woody and Jesse have on their back, for the toys to go ahead and reveal what's going on. And like any animation we do a picture, we storyboarded it. And we wanted something kind of fun to happen in each of the moments. Oki plants a kiss on Woody, and Dan gets so excited his coins pop. Buzz gets surrounded by aliens. When we boarded it, I think it was within 5 or 6, and when we started animating, he was like, yeah, more aliens! Bring in more aliens! And then Don saw it, he's like, more aliens. And then Jesse throws her hat in the air, lands on me. So this is what the quadrant looks like with all of them. And this is, again, like actually, it's unique. Every screen here has a unique set of characters, so we brought everybody out for the finale.
Oh, way to play, everyone!
Let's examine their scores. Congratulations.